Welcome. Today we're here with our good friend and monastic brother, Bhante Rāhula. Bhante, thank you so much for joining us again.
It's a pleasure, my dear brothers. Pleasure.
So for a brief introduction for those who don't know, Bhante Rāhula, born in Mexico, has spent the last 22 years in Asia in various periods where he's practiced and studied the Dhamma. He was ordained in Myanmar by Sayadaw Dr. Nandamālābhivaṃsa, who is his preceptor. Since 2004, he has received meditation guidance from Sayadaw U Tejaniya. For 6 years, Bhante studied Suttas and Abhidhamma with Sayadaw Dr. Ukkamsacara in Macau. In 2019, he completed a course on Buddhist scriptures from Harvard University. He underwent monastic Vinaya training for 2 years in Sāsanārakkha Buddhist Sanctuary in Malaysia under the guidance of Venerable Dhammaka, where he also led retreats and Dhamma activities for the local community. Currently, Bhante is constructing the Mexican Buddhist Center, Paññabhumi, to introduce and propagate the Buddhist teaching in South America. He is also actively involved in diverse programs and to aid parts of the society in overcoming drug addiction and alcoholism, as well as supporting educational campaigns for children and teens to prevent such problems in this region. So we're very delighted to have Bhante here. He's one of our dear monastic friends, and we honestly today wanted to have a bit of a discussion where we just got to talk about the Dhamma, the Vinaya together, and just have a more informal conversation for maybe 30 to 40 minutes, and then we can open up to any questions in the chat. So maybe to start with just a little more context, Bhante. I wanted there's been some recent upheavals in Mexico, and was quite moved by how Paññabhumi served as a refuge for people in this time. And I just wondered if you'd talk about that a bit to give a little more context before we go into the conversation.
Yes, so thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be together here. And yes, we had a little, as I said, the naughty guys down here in Mexico don't allow us to get bored. So we have in the monastery being affected in different occasions by their actions, different moves that they have made. Sometime in the bank that the monastery was holding the funds for construction like this, they did something, and then now they got a new one. So the day that the burning of the cars, I don't know if you saw the images, but they took for a little while the city, because apparently they catch one of the mob boss, one of the big bosses of the gang. So they were burning cars. So we were here that Sunday having the meditation. And then when we finished the meditation, and then they offered the lunch. And then after that, I see people staying, and they come to me and say, Bhante, we cannot go. And then I say, why you cannot go? The city is taken. And then they show me images, cars burned, and they were doing some naughty rebellion. So they stayed in the monastery. So that was early in the morning. We started 7 a.m. And then after midday, they couldn't go. And the families were saying, please don't move, because they were taking the cars on the streets, taking the people down, and then just burning them. So now, fortunately, it came back to normal. That was just like a tantrum, a little bit to show off, and they didn't know what to do. And the students stayed here, and that was quite nice, because we started getting ready. It seemed that they needed to eat, but as you know, in the monastery there is no food. They only brought food to offer in the morning. So very kindly, all the community around, they immediately sent a message, and they start bringing food. That was really hard. It really touched the heart. People started bringing some bread and fruits, and suddenly we had a lot of food. And I started searching for quilts, and I thought they will stay. But amazingly, that day, the head of the drug addiction prevention of the government, he's the boss of the department of the government, he's student of the monastery for many years. He is the one who invites me to the centers of drug addiction and trying to work with the young people, well, young and old. So he was here that day, so he had some intel, really, really good intel. He was getting information. And at one point in the evening, they said, okay, it is fine. Now there is a window. Because they, very strangely, the information moves around, and they suddenly said, okay, let's go. They went in caravan, and then I just told them, yeah, please inform me. Anyway, that was that day. 2 more days, there was a little bit, everybody was going out, but now everything came back to normal. Fortunately, it didn't normalize that state. And it is too costly for them to be sustaining something, because the police arrive and etc. But now it's fine. But it was a good reminder that Saṃsāra is like this. It can jump at any moment. We can see the news now, more conflicts now in the world. They just, from decision of a person or a few people, the things change for many. And as I was saying now, commenting briefly with Bhante, the mental impurities really do a good job. They are professional on making a mess. So it is up to us now. What are we doing? And I think it's a good opportunity for us to really come back and consider, because as soon as things are flowing well, we kind of get complacent and comfortable. But these things, on the good hand, I'm not wishing them, or not that we need the whip to be moving. But yes, Saṃsāra has a good way to remind us, watch out, this is moving and it can change at any moment. What are you doing about it? Do you really want to continue flowing here? So that really came to the bone. And to end up with a nice tone note is the people who stayed, they were delighted to say, wow, thanks to these guys, these naughty guys, we got the wonderful opportunity to spend the whole day in the don't know what to do in the universe, but in the monastery. So it was actually, they were really grateful for it. And now really it came back to normal. But we are ready for any surprise, and we are ready within. Within, we are ready and moving forward. Yeah, we need to move. move.
Bhante, what did you do anything different that day? I mean, you weren't expecting people to stay the whole day. Did you end up just teaching or doing more meditation, or it was just kind of like a sanctuary? The monastery itself became the place, the teacher?
It was a sanctuary, but it was like a Q&A session, because we stayed up there after finishing. They helped a little bit. They were here, so we cleaned a little bit together the garden. After finishing that, there were long sessions of questions, and they're different groups separated. Not everybody was in a single room. So up here in the meditation room, some people stayed, and as I was coming kind of as a host in the big house, so I was coming, hey, and then questions, and then we sat and have some topics. Then I was going out like the guys that out there outside the tunnel in the entrance with the benches. They had a different vibration, because they were having different. Some of them didn't wanted to see anything. The ones on top, so they just focused on the Dhamma and what they could make best opportunity for the staying in the monastery. The other guys outside, they were, so I even for myself, yeah, how is it going? How is it going? What news we have? And we could hear on the top the military helicopters. Ta, 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 ta. So because the city is on the southeast side of, we are on the northwest side of the city, and you could hear the sirens and the ambulances. So that was kind of sobering for everybody, because at the beginning, so many helicopters coming up and down, and they were turning here because we are on the edge of the city, on the outskirts. So they were coming here. So they were doing the turning here, ta, 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 and they were coming very, very low. So the sound was, you can feel it. And then the sirens, everybody, and that was a wonderful opportunity actually for me to bring up the same tone that I just mentioned. Really? Do we want to continue here? Look how easily it changes. And then there was a different kind of questions on the other side. And then I think that later they got a little bit bored and they start doing some more gardening. So there was Dhamma infused. And 2 or 3 people decided to come here where the Buddha is, and they actually sat. So I was coming here and touching base with everybody, kind of holding, and their families. So it was something. It's a good wake-up call.
Bhante, we heard about all that and what your community is providing, and just were spreading care, and really glad you were there for your community. And I think maybe, the first question I had written down to discuss with both of you was the kind of favorite hidden gem of a sutta, but I feel like staying on this note is relevant. And maybe the first thing we could just pass around as a question is what you both see as kind of our role as monastics in this current moment of uncertainty and unrest and upheaval in the world. Like, it's such a relevant thing on people's hearts, and obviously us figuring out how we interact with that as, you know, kind of practitioners of Dhamma and representatives of it, or teachers at times, is relevant. So Ajahn, would you like to start with that, or?
Yes, please.
Sure. I mean, as monastics, I feel like there's a variety of roles different monastics can play. Like at Abhayagiri, I wouldn't be surprised if some of them had no idea about what's going on in Iran, had no idea about what was going on in Mexico, just because they're in the middle of winter retreat. They're not checking the news. Most of them don't have phones, aren't checking these things. And I'm happy that there are places like that there are people like that, there are communities like that where people can go and just be that refuge, even if they're not, you know, saying anything. You know, it's the silence that's speaking into the world. And I'm happy that those places exist. And I think the three of us have a slightly different role as more senior monastics. You know, people, even if we wanted, you know, there are periods, and there need to be periods when we do really step back and not actively, you know, and intentionally not pay attention to all of the swirls of the world. But we do need to be in touch with them because, you know, people are affected one way or another at one degree of separation or two or three. But yeah, as providing places like your monastery, we haven't been there yet, but just seeing photos of it, so happy that it exists as a sanctuary. Yeah, someday. Not too long. It's not going to be long, Bhante. But our place too, you know, I mean, time is ticking. Time is ticking, but
Come. Yeah, it will be a delightful experience. Come, my brothers, welcome. Yeah, and really for everybody, it's back to the world. It is as it is. Yeah. No need to jump. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a range, and being able to just speak, you know, to send metta, you know, sending metta is very much not anything. I think a lot of people, you know, you say, what are you doing? You know, we have our blessing braid that we read every week, and that's just names of people and situations that people are in who are connected to the community at one degree or another. And that is something, you know, we are thinking about these people and keeping them in our hearts. And then when we are able to actually speak to them one-on-one, it feels very good to know that there are people in the world that are thinking of us, even if we're not doing ostensibly much more than that. But yeah, curious what you two, if Bhante or Ajahn, if you.
Sure, I'll start as well.
I have some comments, but after you, Bhante.
Okay. Ajahn and I aren't sure how to do eye contact when we're so close
Ajahn
together.
doesn't like me looking at him.
I do sometimes, but we're so close right now. So, no, I think it's interesting because you know, the sense that there is something really you know, I think the younger generation right now, like a lot of the narratives which our culture had about the trajectory of you know, the politic and the world in general has they've really kind of fallen away one at a time. And I think one of the ones that's been left is you know, when people are robbed of those older narratives, you know, on one level, people I think are very, very lost and lonely. But I also feel like that's led people to search again for those roots of religious community and in-person interaction. I mean, there's something that said, like, if you want to learn something new, read an old book. And, you know, one place I think I see this right now is with, you know, AI, I think is going to affect our community quite deeply. I mean, the agentic AI with Claude Code and stuff, you know, we do keep apprised of this because it's interesting. But I think it's going to really affect people. And on one level, I mean, that's a sense of trepidation of like what's to come. On another level, I feel that people are waking up as things get dark as well. And like you just see that in the amount of community that gathers at our gatherings on Saturday. Like people are genuinely hungry for in-person community. And so my hope is that as monastics, not only can we provide a bit of the heavenly messenger of representing some measure of Dhamma as best we can, but also I think what you're doing, Bhante, and what hopefully we can do is actually provide real in-person interaction in a way that is, I think, sorely lacking in people's lives. And I think, that actually, despite, in the midst of things getting quite mixed up, that people might find their way back to these roots of like in-person interaction, actually coming to a monastery and coming to trees. And in a weird way, the crisis down in Guadalajara in Mexico this last, few weeks was almost a strange microcosm of exactly that thing happening. Like if Saṃsāra seems so fraught, where do you go but back to one of the few safe places you can get? And you'll have some people out in the foyer on their phones a little bit, but then you'll have others actually meditating. And so anyways, I feel like we are on the cusp of something, and it's just going to be interesting to see that plays out.
Yeah.
But what about you?
And we will need, because, for example, I have seen after 2 weeks of that happening, you can see the reverberation, how people is digesting what happened. Because at the beginning was the shock. Oh, we cannot move. What? I was like, wow, can you repeat again? Sorry that you cannot go because there are cars. I mean, they burned one car a few blocks from here. So what, that there is a car here and we cannot go and better stay at home? Anyway, the shock was original, but then I could see the next 2 weekends that the same people came, and you could see what our minds is doing with the occurrences that are going on. So what is our mind doing? And one of the words that was used recently or often was hold the mind, hold the mind. Don't let it rush with either. Of course, there was worry, a lot of speculation, a lot of anxiety, and then people come back. What we can do. And also another thing that was very obvious is seeing the problems now also with the war that just started, how our compassion gets polluted of despair, how our compassion gets polluted of sadness, polluted of anger, so it is very tricky, and it's something to be reminded to our communities and to ourselves to be careful and not allowing, because it's not compassion anymore. That's sadness, that's despair, that's anxiety, and that's anger. So we think that because it came, the compassion opened the door, it's very easy for all of us to mistake our compassion with hatred even, and we end up doing the same. Oh, catch the guys and do this for them. So we end up doing the very thing that we didn't want it to happen. So those reminders is one of the things is also do whatever you can in your immediate surrounding. Make sure that you don't contribute to the chaos. And that was the meditation we had last Sunday. I take the determination, I will not contribute to the chaos. Enough. As Sayadaw U Tejaniya says, isn't it enough the suffering of the world, so we can now suffer within? Isn't it enough the external suffering? And then taking that determination, I will not contribute to the chaos. And whichever news I hear, I will also take care of the amount of information I'm getting and from which sources. Okay, you can follow. And as Bhante says, monks might be on the mountain on retreat, but us having contact to people, it's unavoidable. People brings the news to us, so we can see the vibration of them, and then taking that determination, I will not contribute, and I will, how you say this word, I will neutralize. I will neutralize that negativity a little bit. Like it reminds me. Recently, a painting of Avalokiteshvara was donated in Malaysia. So it was on the roll for some time, for years actually. I was like, wow, so beautiful. So now it's here. I'm looking at it in front. So it was a gift from Malaysia, and that part of borrowing from Mahayana is I am willing to feel the news, be with people, as Bhante says, sending metta, being present, and I will not contribute. Otherwise, I'm becoming part of the problem. I'm just making it worse by exalting all the people around. Oh, you see this thing, you see. Calm it down, neutralize it in whichever way, and act locally. What can I do? And if I can do something far away, because some people even complain, Bhante, but if we turn the phone, how are we going to know what's happening? Yes, it's good to know, but can you do something? If you can, do it. But so many people, even military teams, are trying to do something about it. What can we do here and act locally? I think that will be very important, to hold our minds and stay steady. And lastly, I want to mention something. As you say, Bhante, you remind me something. You never know. A dear teacher says, blessings, they are very mischievous. They like to disguise themselves. So I tell you something that I saw now coming back. I went to Myanmar, no? So you know that Myanmar is not an easy situation. They are still in the aftermath of the coup and the military power and a lot of repression and etc. So I went to visit my teachers. And as you briefly mentioned, Bhante, you never know, because these things that happen in the world, actually, I mean, I say it carefully, spiritually are very beneficial. Because if we are complacent in our comfort zone and never looking really what the Buddha was calling for us to see from long ago, Saṃsāra is not a candy, Saṃsāra is not a candy, watch out, it's sweet, it overpromises, underdelivers. So by saying these things, it really sober us and really, what's happening? And Sambhega arises, spiritual urgency, and we really start doing something. How did I saw it in Myanmar? Every day that I was with my preceptor, with Sayadaw Nandamālābhivaṃsa, every day he gave a Dhamma talk and the hall was full. 800 people is filled. Every day. And I cannot say it in another word, the fervor. You say like that, the fervor. When people, it was fiery, really, like really fiery. When they were taking the precepts, I have recordings. It was the skin. The people, Bhante was just saying, Panatipata Wera Manisikapa, and the people, Panatipata, but like, tak, tak, tak. They were not joking. And I was thinking, why is all these people coming to this? You see the life, the economy they're having, the troubles they're having in the daily life. Saṃsāra and the suffering is pushing them to, where do they take refuge? In a place where they can take refuge. And they were coming. It was really humbling. And I was thinking, on the bottom, really, is this really a bad thing? When you look at it existentially and spiritually, is this really a curse or a blessing? I mean, I keep it open, but reminding the teacher, he said, blessings are very mischievous. They like to take these guys. So we take it, at least I decide to take it from that side. And if anyway it's already smelly, anyway, it can become compost. It's already smelly. Let's make it compost for a spiritual development. What do you think, Bhante?
It reminds me, we had an exchange student when I was young, and he got smuggled out of the siege of Sarajevo in the back of a pickup truck. And he was just one of the most beautiful beings I've ever met. And we went back to Sarajevo with him years later, and they hadn't had a homicide in, I think, 15 years, not one in the whole city since the siege, because there's such, like the Pangatipata, the, renouncing of killing, the violence had left such an imprint. And I also remember him because these things about blessings coming in disguises, they learned that his daughter was going to have Down syndrome. And initially he didn't know what to think of it. It's a hard piece of news to get as a parent initially, to have to change your conception of what your child will be. But I saw him years later, and he said he felt like his daughter had been put there to teach him to love. And like, they would get up in the middle of the restaurant and just dance together. Like, it was the most pure relationship. And like, you're right. Like, who knows? Suffering is the first noble truth. If you really turn towards it, what blessings kind of hide in that space of grace. So I think that's actually a really important recollection. Are you anything to add? And if not, I can bring up another question for us.
Please. Yeah.
Okay. So on a different note, but I really love this question with monastics and anyone. Favorite sutta, hidden gem? So,
hidden gem.
Bhante,
You want to go first, Ajahn?
I have one, but I feel like I just talked for a while. So,
Okay.
I don't want to put you on the spot, though.
I can jump in.
Go for it,
Yeah.
Ajahn, please.
Go, Bhante. Yeah.
Well, I think some number of people will know the sutta to Gautami, the Buddha's mother, and the first nun, the first bhikkhuni. It says, the qualities of which you may know, these qualities lead to dispassion, to cessation, to not being burdensome, to being content. This is the Dhamma, this is the Vinaya, this is the teacher's instructions. It's actually in the Dhamma.He chanting book of America, and people know it very well. But there's another sutta which has most all the same words. Upali, the chief disciple.
Vinaya master.
Exactly.
Barber.
Exactly.
Also.
And a barber, yeah. Kind of monastic discipline master. He went to the Buddha, and at one point he asked, give me a short teaching so I can go live off in seclusion. And the Buddha actually said, you should stay back and teach the other monks. But then later, this sutta I'm talking about, it's Anguttara 7.83. He asked for a teaching in brief so he can practice. And the Buddha says, the qualities of which you may know, or the dhammas of which you may know, the practices of which you may know, this leads to disenchantment, to dispassion, to cessation, to peace, to clear seeing, to awakening. To me. Yeah, you may definitely hold, this is the Dhamma, this is the Vinaya, this is the teacher's instructions. And it's just so pithy. And for my mind, like, if I can do any of those, if I can tap into any of those, then that's Dhamma in this moment. So yeah, totally.
Only. Comment. Now that you say Gautami, my dear brothers and my dear Dhamma family, I have good news to share. Now that you said Gautami, well, I show you one photo. My sister is now officially a nun.
Oh, congratulations.
And you know why you remind me of her right now? Because her Pali name is Gautami. Aya Rindama from Barcelona. Now she's in Spain. She closed everything. Now you can see her. Now two Mexican nuns are making now the community in Barcelona. So Aya Rindama, I met her in 2006 in Myanmar. We both were monastics. I was taking a temporary ordination that time. And then she just kept as a monastic since then. Now she has a monastery. And the young lady here, Sujata, she's a student from Paññabhumi here. And then she decided, she already had it. And you know Sujata. And then she was with Ayas. She was with the Ayas
we know her. Yeah,
in the forest.
Sāsanārakkha.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah, Anagarika.
Yes.
Sāsanārakkha. Yeah. Oh.
So she's now there, and now the good news for everybody. Now we have more nuns coming, and it seems that things are going well. So my sister now Pali name is Gautami. That's why I
thank you.
Share the news.
Wondering about her. Very cool.
She was living in Cincinnati for many years. She was married, and she closed everything, the relation, the company she had, and she came here to Mexico, arranged everything, and she really left everything now, and she's is happy by now, and she's planning to become a bhikkhuni. So anyway, so that's when you mentioned, I was reminded. And talking about gems of suttas, there is one sutta that I think it was the moment that I was in. I was having a hard moment in SBS. Actually, it was a live movement, big one in my life. So that sutta really touched and has become very dear to my heart. Is in Majjhima Nikaya 125, Dhamma.He Sutta, where the Buddha describes how to train a monk. First, the Buddha he's talking to an elephant trainer. So he said, how do you train an elephant for battle, to become a royal? Oh, I even feel it came in the right moment, and it is on the bones now. So if I feel moved a little bit, because the Buddha describes how first you take, in order to make an elephant, a wild elephant, to make it a royal elephant, royal war elephant, kind of it's you need to take the elephant from the forest, and you need to lure it with some food or something. So first he comes out of his of the forest like our lay life, and then you start learning, okay, there's the Dhamma smells good, and people start come. Then you need to start training and putting the poles or the satipatthana. So then later on you come to see what he was meant by, and then you start training. And then eventually the part that really touches me, and I think is very important, and in these times I think for the topic of the day that arose, is very important, the sense of bravery and resilience that we need in order to continue walking elegantly, inwardly elegantly, despite the external conditions. Yes, other people will do mess. The naughty guys will make a mess, and the other people will attack some other people here or be doing, but we won't. And I will uphold it. So the last part that really touches me on that sutta is when the Buddha said that eventually after the elephant was trained, he is tested. Oh, and then the elephant is taken onto a battle with drums. People is hitting drums beside him, and he needs to continue steady, even the noise of the world, even the drums. And then the Buddha says, and then they will throw him spears and arrows. And only if the elephant can withstand such distractions, noise, the pain that he's receiving from the world, only then he can become a royal elephant. The royal elephant in our case, it will be the emancipation of the going beyond the world. So the whole image for me, then later on the Buddha goes and says, oh, this is what it meant in us as humans, what is meant to come out of the jungle. This is what is come out to be trained. This is what is to face the world elegantly and not get entangled in the noise and the distraction, even regardless of even pain. Forward, and then we achieve final royal liberation, etc. Wow, that's for me. Every time is like because of that is very dear. Majjhima Nikaya 125.
They talk, that's so great, Bhante. And they talk about how the Buddha has an elephant's look, which means whenever he didn't just turn his head, he would turn his whole body towards things.
You ready, John?
Like this. And I've always thought that was a good like image for how we do things as like practitioners, is you turn your whole heart towards it. You don't just like do something haphazardly. Like an elephant doesn't just, I mean, I don't know much about elephants, but I assume they're quite, oh, they've got. Anyways, when we do things, we do it intentionally with our whole body, and heart. I really like that.
And to you, question, Sutta?
Yeah, Bhante.
Yeah, and we can
even
keep going for a while if we want. This is fun. I've got two, if that's all right. So there's one, the Kassapa Samyutta is a chapter in the Samyutta Nikaya with Mahakassapa, who's one of the kind of ascetics, and he's just got these two suttas which always echo in my head. One is, he says, one should approach people like families, like the moon, holding back. And when one teaches Dhamma, an unworthy bhikkhu teaches Dhamma thinking, may they gain faith in the Dhamma. Having gained faith in the Dhamma, may they show their faith in me. Such a bhikkhu is not worthy of teaching the Dhamma. Or a bhikkhu teaches the Dhamma with the thought, the Dhamma is well expounded by the Blessed One, apparent here and now, timeless, encouraging investigation, leading inwards to be experienced individually by the wise. Having heard the Dhamma, may they remember the Dhamma. Having remembered the Dhamma, may they practice the Dhamma in line with the Dhamma. Therefore, this bhikkhu teaches Dhamma out of respect for the Dhamma, because of the intrinsic excellence of the Dhamma. Such a bhikkhu is worthy of teaching the Dhamma. And literally, like every time before I teach, if I can, like in the meditation or before we turn on this Zoom call, I'll bow to the Buddha and just recite that whole verse in my mind, because it's like, it's such a beautiful sentiment. Like, this isn't us, it's the Dhamma, and the intrinsic excellence is what's being held. So,
Bhante, question. Do you have a short formula before you go? For example, you're about to go into the Dhamma talk, and then do you have a formula, or you recite the whole thing, or just a thought that really brings you onto that mood? Yes, I am doing this because of this. Do you have share with us your snippet?
An abbreviated is, may I be a servant of the Dhamma, guide my tongue. I'm so grateful. But I like the full thing. I usually try to do, and if I can't do while I'm bowing, I'll do it in the meditation when people just can't hear me.
Do you do it in English or in Pali?
In English, yeah.
English.
You do it as well. You do it in Pali, I think, maybe.
I do. But something I love about that simile of the moon is I think there's so much there. I mean, just how the moon is just so untouched, but it's also the light of the moon is actually not the light of the moon. It's the light of the sun. And it's like, you know, your beautiful Buddha statue there, that's the sun. And like any radiance or light that we have that's bouncing off the other people.
That's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, especially that Buddha behind you. I mean, it actually is kind of in a rounded arch.
Yeah. It's a cave. You know, Shwe O Min is the monastery where it became one of the home, and Shwe means golden in Myanmar, Burmese, sorry, and O Min means cave. So since the beginning, we thought we need to make a golden cave to the Buddha, and I will show you how to get a perspective. Sometimes I will show you the how the cave is. So sometimes I come here and I give a hug to the Buddha sometimes before going to bed, like here, and then I just kind of like this. And you see, so it is so big sometimes that it makes me feel like, you remember when your Papa used when our Papa used to hold us. And I remember going after a Sunday, playing everywhere, and I was kind of sleepy. And then my father will take me from the car and take me to the room, and I will pretend that I was asleep. But the most beautiful thing is that my father will pretend that I was asleep as well. So he knew I was awake and I could walk. So sometimes when I come here to the Buddha, just like I kind of feel that paternal inspiration, guidance, something like that. So here in the cave, yes, it's part of the when you come, I invite you to please come, and you can give a hug, and you feel kind of this smallness, and it's like, and coming back with the Dhamma and the refuge that we take on him. So somehow the mind makes this connection, and getting this connection in him and in the Dhamma, and yes, it is like a light, as you say.
Our Buddha image is a little too small for it, but I love how you do that, Bhante.
You're welcome. We're waiting for the hug, for the Buddha hug.
I've got one more, and then we could either keep doing suttas or do our favorite Vinaya rule that's been kind of touched
or
us
our
over
favorite
time.
Buddha Rupa as well. We got
actually,
lots of
that's
things.
a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
do what?
Okay,
what?
Favorite Buddha Rupa
Buddha statue
in the world. Yeah.
But one more sutta.
Okay.
From
so it's another one from the Kassapa Samyutta, and I think it's either the Buddha quoting Ajahn Mahakassapa or Ajahn Mahakassapa himself. But he says, an unworthy monk approaches families with the thought, may they give much, not little. May they give fine things, not shabby things. May they give respectfully, not disrespectfully. Such a monk is not worthy of approaching families. Or such a monk approaches families with the thought, when amongst families, how could I possibly think, may they give much, not little? How could I possibly think, may they give fine things, not shabby things? How could I possibly think, may they give respectfully, not disrespectfully? Such a monastic is worthy of approaching families. And like, you know, we're humans with preferences and defilement. And whenever, you know, on alms round or any interaction, someone gives with generosity, but maybe not in the perfect way or exactly what you were hoping for. It's just such a good slap on the wrist by the Buddha, you know, of just like, no, this is generosity, and that's all that matters. So I love that. That sutta's echoed in my heart for years.
Samyutta 16.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Also, the Samyutta, one Samyutta, hello?
Yeah.
One Samyutta that really I feel like, ooh, you remember the one that where the Buddha talks about gain,
honor,
praise, and fame. Oh, that one is like, if it was made the whole section just to remember you monk, remember you monk. Why are you doing? And the dangers, no, and how we know praise, gain, and fame. We need to, coming back, no, really to the beautiful thing is what it calls on the other hand is this sense of honesty and sincerity, and just the closeness towards the practice. What am I here to do? Why did I become a monk on the first place? And that's a question that I have asked. I have a habit which has turned out to be very fruitful, is whenever I see an Ajahn or a Bhante who is more than 20, 30, 40, especially when they're 50, I come and ask a question. Maybe I told you before. I say, Bhante, what is your secret to stay in robes for so long? And the answers everybody has given after is like gold, because they are giving you 50 years of inspiration, what has kept them on robes. And many of them have come to the point, a few of them have come to say, remember often, why did you become a monk on the first place? Did I, for this, because we can get entangled, not just monastics, but all of us as humans, as a family father, mother, or as a business person, whatever we are up to, why did I start this on the first place? So remembering the original intention, which generally, not to say in our monastic life, when we decide to let go of some things in order to pursue something greater, I mean, the importance to come back to this sincerity within, and am I really upholding that original determination? So
no, that's a great coupling. I mean, none of us are to 20 years in robes. Hopefully we'll get there. Hopefully we'll all be old monks together at some point.
Gambari.
But that question about why did we ordain, that's another question we could ask. We've got a whole slew of questions to ask. So
which ones? Which one do you want to go for? I'm open.
How about why we ordained? That's it's very vital, touching into what you're talking about. And I mean, I do think about it regularly. There's a sutta actually which says, yatha pabbajita, you should train yourself thus. My mind will be ingrained with the spirit of my going forth. And so I do think about it from time to time, but I think my original inspiration was from a Goenka retreat. You know, I did a 10-day Goenka retreat in 2003, and I experienced certain levels of mental peace that's like, it seems categorically different. I'm experiencing a type of pleasure, contentment, well-being, which is just totally independent, it seemed at the time, comparatively, to everything that I was seemingly trajecting my life towards, all of the gaining wealth or just amassing pleasure and going after sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, beautiful people and listening to all the stuff, whatever. And it's just from that moment, or from that, time on, I'm like, okay, this is a different type of happiness, and it is trainable. And like, this is what I can train my life towards. And having recently gone on another Goenka retreat, my mind's in a very different place. If I hadn't shifted trajectory at that point in my life, there's no way that this recent Goenka retreat would have been as it was. So that's why I went forth. I went forth for, I didn't know the name for it, but for jhana, for awakening, for a peace which is untouched. So,
Sadhu.
Sadhu, ping. And you, Bhante, why did you ordain? Wow, that's a good question.
For me, I get a bell too. My bell's deeper. And by the way, someone asked what the citation for my sutta was, and it's in the Kassapa Samyutta, which is 16. And one is like the moon. If you Google like the moon, Kassapa, and then the other is like visitor of families. It's 16 something. I think for me, the language of purpose has always been the most powerful language. Happiness is always, it's relevant, but the language of purpose has always felt very sustaining. And I think I really was hungry for that. Just for, for me, I remember the end of college. I had a good college career. I was doing nonprofit work and, had good friends. But I still binged. I binged on, not terribly unwholesome things, but I'd go to the movies and watch like a rerun of Titanic 3 times, like 2, maybe once.
In the theater?
Plus other things. No, it was really stupid. It was terrible. Like not even like impressive. But
that is kind of impressive.
All right,
I couldn't hardly sit through that once.
You're not a rom-com guy. I am. But we aren't allowed to watch movies anymore. So, but but what, and I always thought this was a fault of, my character, but what it was I never had a stream bed deep enough to hold my whole heart that I intuited was worthy of it. And so I had no choice but to fracture myself. And I fractured myself again and again because there was never something worthy of pouring myself into that felt like I'm living a life worthy of my death. And I think if I hadn't ordained, and ordination's not for everyone, people have different karma and they have to honor that. But for me, I think the tragedy wouldn't have been some descent into deep darkness. It would have just been a sense of like living a half of a life. And I always would have wondered, what if I had? And I would have died with that question mark like a fish hook in my heart. And the moment I stepped into Abhidhamma Monastery, it was after driving down the West Coast, looking into grad schools, listening to Dan Savage and eating Taco Bell and reading the Hunger Games, like stupid stuff. And just the silence of that landscape and just knowing I needed help and a container to turn towards my suffering and face it. And that would be the only way I'd live a life worthy of my death.
Wow.
So it was all about purpose. Yeah.
And I was there to help you.
Ajahn Kobilo gave me my first raking job at Abhidhamma.
Yeah. He was good at it. Like the channel of your heart.
It was my raking. That's all I had to pour it into at that moment. He gave me a Bhante, what about you? Oh, and just final thing is, I think in the midst of tragedy and difficulty, that language of purpose is really, it's a good language and it is sustaining and it's relevant. Like, what's the greatest gift we can give the world in this brief moment we have on it? So,
all right, let's get old. We got to get old together.
Yeah. Okay. We go.
Friends.
Yes. Gladly, my brothers. So in my case, Bhante, Kobilo, very sweet you did. So I was seeing the sweetness, how the inspiration came like this. In my case was, it needed to be a little bit Latin, a bit more spicy. It was spicy. So I had ordained a few times or temporarily because I still had a wife and a company, giving concerts here and there, etc. And also the attachment was there. But each time that I ordained, it was harder and harder to disrobe. So to the point that the last time I disrobed for the last temporary, I literally cried. So it was too much. I really didn't feel like taking the robes off. So the next time, which is this one, to be honest, I didn't know if that was going to be another temporary ordination or not. But I could feel that I didn't want to stay short period, and I already prepared my lay life to be more free, and also spoke to my ex-wife, etc. And she was a nun twice, and she has tried the ropes, and she appreciated and supported that. I'm very lucky from that. But the place where I decided I will continue. Short after I took this ordination 10 years ago, my Abhidhamma teacher, Suttas and Abhidhamma scriptural teacher, brought us to the pilgrimage in India, to the sacred sites. So, as you know, every site has something to offer. But for me, Kusinara, where the Buddha passed away, that place is just... The thing is, I will make the long story short. That day we arrive into Kusinara, we come into a Tibetan monastery. I don't feel like going to bed. The mind was inspired from all the other places that Lumbini we have already gone. So I thought I will go to the Dhamma hall to practice. So I go in the night, and there was a window in there. I have photos of that place. And then as you open the window, just there, the pagoda where the Buddha passed away light up in the night. They put the big lights. So I we arrived late, so next morning we were going to see the place where the Buddha passed away. But in the night, I see the place, and there, the Buddha. I mean, he was a human with legs, and all the stories came down to the ground, and he would die, passed away there. So then I stayed on walking meditation, sitting and walking. But then on the other side of the room, there was a place with many statues, you know, Tibetans with these monsters and all these and the spears and everything. But there was one statue. I came with an open mind, not from what I knew, because I didn't know much, but just looking, what does this sculpture wants to show? And there is one sculpture, the Yoga Vajrini, I don't remember the name, so an apology. Vajra Yogini or something like that. Anyway, there is a lady who is without clothes, and she has a very fierce face and has a dagger in one and poison on the other hand. And then she's stepping on two human beings, one male and female, literally stepping. The other ones are like this. So what I saw was the last exemplified, because there was the attractive female shape, and then standing. And I just thought, this is how I am. This is how we are oppressed by desire, attachment, and lust. And then that was not the thing that shocked me. I already was moved by the place where the Buddha passed away, and then understanding the Dhamma is alive, but it will eventually, as everything in the universe, will fall away. So you put all that thing together. I see the lady, and then she has a crown of skulls. And the thing that really moved me and touched me deeply was a mala, a garland of skulls that she has. And then I saw myself, life after life, after die, born, die, born, die, born, born, die, born, die, born, die, so many times because of lust, because of desire. I will continue rolling life after life, having this opportunity already in the ropes, already in this place with all the blessings, with this opportunity, still with years ahead to practice. And that night, my dear brothers, why did I become it was not that why I became a monk, because I already loved the Dhamma and I fell for it. But that day, better said, was the day that I said, I cannot waste this opportunity. I cannot. Again, because of lust, because of, no, this cannot be done. Forward. Next day, I needed to talk to my ex-wife. So, to be continued.
Okay, cayenne pepper. Pepper in there.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, everything went well. We spoke. We spoke, and she knew already that the heart was there, and she was very respectful, and I'm very grateful to her. Blessed may she be wherever she is now. She's married back again, and so that also kind of. And now, the you know, when you have a boat and the rope is taken out from the pier, the rope is taken. Let's continue rowing. Yes, so that's why I became a monk. We cannot waste this opportunity. It's so great in so many senses. Being a human, having contact with the Dhamma, having good teachers around, good conditions, and wasted, as Bhante says, for what? For what? Really? Yeah. No. Our purpose is higher. And if I may share the answer of Bhante Ariya, when it's very short, when they ask Bhante, why did you become a monk? And that is also inspiring. Bhante Ariya Dhammika says, I wanted to bring the human potential that is on my hands to the utmost. That's it. And that is already like, wow. After looking in many options that he had, he really, you know how systematic he is, he thought, this is the place where I will be able to fulfill the potential, this human potential to the utmost. Wow. It's like,
I think we don't have much longer, but actually, Bhante, you bringing that question about the moment when you decided to stay in robes, that's a good another question. I don't know the answer I know that maybe you haven't committed to it forever as a formal promise, but like, when did you first know, Ajahn, that you wanted to make this a longer thing, or stay as long as you could possibly?
Pretty much when I first went to Wat Metta, that was my first monastery. And pretty much when I found the trajectory after that Goenka retreat, I was very much on that trajectory. May I keep putting in the causes, but I remember just giving away before I even visited. I was living in Cincinnati, Ohio, like your sister, maybe. And ended up giving away everything. Like I'd never even visited the monastery, gave everything away, hitchhiked to the monastery. Well, I took a plane and then hitchhiked. And the person who actually ended up the last hitchhike driver, his name was Jesus. His name was Jesus.
Oh, he dropped you off.
And he didn't take me he didn't take me all the way. He took me very close. I had to walk another hour or two. But then when I got to the monastery gate, there was for some reason, it was like a big dumpster right near the monastery gate at that time. But I remember just getting on my knees and just bowing to the gate and thinking, okay, this is where I'm going to spend the rest of my life. And it didn't turn out like that, but I did make it to a monastery pretty quick.
Anyway, very beautiful, very beautiful, very beautiful. Oh, Bhante, you are sweet. You have a paved way. That sounds very good. Congratulations.
It's all Jesus.
Some of us have it a little bit rougher. Sorry, Bhante, you were saying?
The first, actually, the time I visited Abhayagir that you gave me the rake, I picked up a bunch of hitchhikers on the way, and one of them was named Dharma. So Jesus and Dharma. Wow, that could be our hit sitcom. So, anyways, that was a weird thing to say. I think for me, the moment, there was two things. I think you have those who call them first and third noble truthers. Like you have the doorway through suffering, and then also the doorway where you see the peace, and that's a potential. And I think for me, like I'm a greed type personality largely, and just the faith that came from seeing the Buddha image and at Wat Mapjan, and this moment of like following a monk on alms round, actually initially at Nanachat, just feeling this golden light touched me. But then I think after my third year, or fourth year in robes, I discovered writing and how to like tap into that creative part of me. And I just realized how hungry I'd been for, monastic life can be quite dry. No matter how much faith you have, if you don't find fuel, it can, be really, the heart can kind of wither up. And when I found I didn't have to renounce the creative, loving part of me, and that the robes were big enough to hold all of me, that's when I knew I could actually do this for life. Or I mean, maybe so. But and then there's a moment with the first noble truth of suffering. We had a year where I was camping out in the orchard at Wat Mapjan under a little our umbrella tent, and they're so bad at protecting from ants. Like they just get in every time, like so often, and just wake up again and again covered in ants. And it really brought home like how rare a precious human rebirth is. Like the likelihood of being reborn as one of those ants or any of the innumerable beings below, it's so high. And if we keep on circling, we'll fall again, all like statistically, if the Dharma doesn't save us. And I think things can get really bad. And I haven't been able to sustain that vision because it's just hard to hold that in the heart, like the real precariousness of our situation. But it got burned into me that year of like, there's going to be moments where I want to go have a pizza in the evening and be a lay person for a moment, or at least where I want the pizza, at least not to be a lay person. But like right now, while my head is above water and I'm seeing clearly, let me determine my life by these brief moments where the turtle's poked its head up. And in that moment, I knew like, I don't want to waste this either. Like this is not guaranteed. And I'm in robes, and how unlikely. So yeah.
Do you have any poems from that time when you first started writing again?
Not here, no. Yeah. Thanks for asking. I wish I did. So.
Wow. Well, the time really passed. It's 7 o'clock already.
Yeah. 9 p.m. for you, I believe, Bhante.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gladly passed.
that was really fun, Venerable. We're going to have Bhante Rāhula up to visit us in mid-June for like 5 or 6 days. He's going to be here for our robe offering, probably. For our, we plan to do a day-long retreat with him on Sunday. He's going to teach at Seattle Insight. And just so grateful to have you as part of our community, Venerable, and a brother. So
Bhantes, my dears, I love you. Gladly. It's a pleasure to walk together, ne? Really. You can feel the support here on this side. Yeah.
We got a great photo of the three of us
hugging. Actually, there's our hugger.
Yeah, maybe we'll make that the thumbnail.
There's a phrase that we use. Bhante uses again. We go together, and I like that. We go together.
We go together. We work together.
We'll go together over to Zoom for those who want. If people want to join us, I'm going to paste the link into the chat. You can also find it in the description to the YouTube video, or on Clear Mountain's. Did you break the link up? I hope not. Oh no, we got it. Different. Good. Or on Clear Mountain's website under the Wednesday live stream listing, and we'll go over there and people can say hi to Bhante and everyone together. So
thanks, Bhante. See you over there.
Bhante, thank you.
Thank you.